The tiny alien girl sat alone on the cold, rocky ground of the distant planet, her small body trembling with fear and loneliness. Her glowing eyes scanned the dark sky above, filled with countless stars that seemed so far away, yet none of them felt close or comforting. She hugged her knees tightly, wishing anyone would come to her. A low wind swept across the rocks, carrying a strange, distant sound that made her ears twitch nervously. She whispered to herself, "No one comes here. No one cares," and her voice was soft. Almost lost in the emptiness high above, a small spaceship hovered silently. Its lights dimmed to avoid being seen inside. A young human boy peered through the viewport, his eyes widening as he noticed the lonely figure below. He felt a strange pull in his chest, something he could not explain. His small hands gripped a glowing toy, a small mechanical creature he had carried from his home planet. He had come to explore, to see strange worlds, but he never expected to find anyone here, especially someone so tiny and scared. The boy lowered the ramp of his spaceship slowly. His heart beating fast, he wanted to approach, but he also felt a shiver of fear. The planet was strange, and he did not know what dangers lurked, yet the loneliness in the alien girl's eyes gave him courage. He stepped forward carefully, holding the glowing toy in front of him like a small shield. The alien girl noticed him immediately, her small body stiffening. She had not seen anyone for months, maybe years, and now a stranger was coming closer. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but something in the boy's calm steps made her pause. He knelt a few feet away and spoke softly, I have something for you." His words were simple, but his tone was gentle, filled with kindness. The girl tilted her head, unsure, her glowing eyes wide with both hope and fear. He extended his hand slowly, offering the toy. It glowed softly, a warm light in the cold, rocky world. The alien girl's fingers trembled as she reached out. She could feel the warmth from the toy, something she had never felt before. It was not just light, it was a promise of friendship, of care, of someone noticing her suddenly. A low rumble echoed from behind the rocks, making the girl jump and the boy freeze. Shadows moved quickly in the distance, and the wind carried strange sounds of growls and roars. The girl whispered urgently, "They are here." Always watching, her voice shook, and the boy felt a chill. Something dangerous lived here, something that had kept her alone for so long. The boy took a deep breath and smiled nervously. "I will not leave you," he said, and even though he did not know what dangers were near, he meant it. He placed the toy carefully on the ground and backed away slightly. Giving the girl space, the girl stepped forward slowly, her small hands brushing the toy. She could not speak, but her glowing eyes reflected a mix of relief and caution. A shadow passed overhead and the girl gasped, "They are coming. I can feel them." The boy looked up nervously, the hairs on his neck standing. He had no idea what she meant, but he understood that the planet was not safe. Something big, something strong was watching them, waiting. The alien girl picked up the toy and hugged it to her chest, her small body trembling. She glanced at the boy and whispered, "Why are you here?" The boy shrugged, unsure how to explain. I saw you. I wanted to help," he said simply, and somehow that was enough. She blinked slowly, her eyes still glowing. And for the first time in months, she felt a spark of hope. The wind howled around them, carrying unknown dangers across the rocky ground. The boy and the girl stayed close, the small toy glowing brightly between them, a tiny beacon of hope in the dark. The boy wondered what he had gotten himself into, but he knew one thing clearly. He could not leave her alone, not now, not ever. As night fell, shadows deepened and the stars blinked coldly above. The alien girl whispered again, almost to herself, "Maybe someone cares." The boy smiled faintly, holding his hand near the glowing toy. "I do," he said softly, and for a moment, the loneliness of the planet felt a little less heavy. The wind carried a strange roar from afar, the shadow of something enormous passing across the cliffs. The alien girl froze, the boy tightened his grip on the toy, and both of them knew that their small act of friendship had already begun something much bigger, something that would change everything. Morning light spilled over the rocky planet, casting long shadows across the jagged cliffs. The tiny alien girl sat clutching the glowing toy to her chest, her eyes still wide with wonder. She looked at the human boy, unsure if she could trust him completely, yet something in his calm face made her heart beat a little faster. The boy knelt down on one knee, careful not to frighten her. "Do you like it?" he asked softly, holding out his hands as if to show he meant no harm. The alien girl hesitated, then slowly placed the toy on the ground, touching it lightly with her fingertips. Its glow reflected in her eyes, making them shine even brighter. She whispered, "It feels warm," her small voice trembling with surprise. For the first time, the boy smiled fully. "It's yours. You can keep it," he said, and he meant it. The alien girl's lips curled into a tiny smile, a rare expression she had not worn in a long time. Suspense hung in the air, however, as distant echoes rolled across the rocky plains. A low growl, barely audible, sent shivers down both of their spines. The boy noticed strange markings on her skin, glowing lines that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. "What are these?" he asked quietly, pointing. The alien girl glanced at her arms and sighed softly. "They are my people's symbols. They show who we are," she said, her voice full of pride and sadness. "But I am alone. Everyone else left or was taken." The boy's heart ached as he reached out, his hand hovering over hers. "I'm not leaving. I will stay," he promised. And she could sense his sincerity. She nodded slowly, the tension in her small body easing a little together. They began to communicate through gestures and small sounds, sharing simple things, a smile, a nod, a laugh. The alien girl showed him how to touch the markings gently, and the boy tried to copy her, feeling honored by the trust she gave. Suddenly the ground shook slightly and the girl froze. Her ears twitched as she whispered urgently, "They are near." Watching, the boy's eyes widened and he scanned the horizon, seeing shadows that moved too fast and too quietly. Something dangerous lived here, something that had kept her isolated for so long. Yet he felt no fear, only determination. He stepped closer to her and said softly, "We face it together." The alien girl's tiny hands brushed the toy once more, drawing strength from its glow. She glanced at the boy and asked, "Why are you here? You could leave any time." He shook his head. "I came here to explore, yes, but I stayed because I saw you, and I wanted to help," he said simply, and she felt the weight of his words settle in her heart. A small spark of hope ignited, one she had not felt in many lonely cycles of this planet. The wind picked up, carrying strange noises, whispers of the unknown, yet the boy held his ground, his small figure standing firm next to the alien girl. "Let's go a little closer to the cliffs," he suggested, pointing toward a place where the shadows seemed to gather. She followed cautiously, her tiny steps light and careful. Suspense built as the shadows shifted faster, glowing red eyes appearing for a brief moment in the distance. As they reached the cliff, the alien girl touched the toy to the ground, its glow reflecting on the rocks. "And this is a gift," she whispered, and for the first time she smiled freely. The boy knelt beside her and said, "It's more than a gift. It's the start of friendship." A sudden rustle from behind a boulder startled them, and both froze, their eyes wide, yet neither ran. They stayed together, facing the unknown, ready to protect each other. The alien girl looked up at the stars, then at the boy, her small hand resting on the toy. Maybe someone really cares," she whispered, and this time her voice carried a tiny note of hope. The boy nodded, his own eyes reflecting the light of the toy. "I do," he said simply, and that was enough. A distant rumble rolled across the planet, a warning that danger was near. Yet they did not move. They were no longer alone, and their small bond of friendship had begun to grow. Night approached slowly, shadows deepened, but the glowing toy lit their faces. A quiet suspense lingered in the air, a feeling that unseen eyes watched their every move. Yet the alien girl's heart felt lighter than before, and the human boy felt a strange warmth in this cold, alien world. Together, they waited for what would come next, ready to face it side by side. Night had fallen over the rocky planet, and the alien girl hugged the glowing toy tightly to her chest. Her small body trembled with both fear and excitement. She glanced at the human boy, whose eyes reflected the toy's warm light. "You should leave," she whispered, her voice shaking slightly. "They are coming. 500 of them." The boy's heart skipped a beat and he swallowed hard. Who are they?" he asked cautiously, his eyes scanning the dark cliffs and shadows around them. The alien girl looked toward the horizon, her glowing eyes wide with memory and fear. "They are my people," she said. "Warriors, fierce and strong. But they will not trust easily." She shivered, thinking of the many times her people had been betrayed, captured or lost to rival clans. Suddenly, a low rumble rolled across the rocky plains and both of them froze. The ground beneath them seemed to pulse slightly, a warning of the approaching army. The alien girl whispered urgently, "They can feel who is here. They can sense your heart." The boy's hand instinctively moved toward the toy, its soft glow now a small shield between them and the unknown. Shadows moved on the cliffs, large and swift, and the wind carried deep growls that made their ears ring. The alien girl took a small step forward, placing the toy on a rock and whispered, "Do not be afraid, but be ready. They test strangers before they decide." The boy nodded. Though his heart raced, he did not want to leave, not now, not after seeing the fear and hope in her eyes. "Why are you here with me?" she asked quietly, glancing up at him. "Because no one should be alone," the boy said simply, and even in the darkness, she could see the honesty in his eyes. "I will stay. No matter what comes." A faint smile appeared on her small face, though tension still gripped her body. From the distance, the sound of massive wings beating against the air made the ground shake. The rumble grew louder, echoing across the cliffs like thunder. The boy gripped a rock, preparing for anything, and the alien girl took a deep breath, trying to steady her fear. "They will want to test you," she said, her voice barely audible. "They will see if you are friend or threat." A sudden shadow crossed the valley below, massive and moving with purpose. The alien girl's tail twitched nervously, and her ears pressed flat against her head. "They are very close now," she whispered. The boy could feel the tension in the air, heavy and electric, like the planet itself was alive. Watching, waiting, the first warrior appeared on a high cliff, tall and glowing with strange symbols. His eyes locked onto the boy and the alien girl. And for a moment, silence fell. Suspense gripped them both, every muscle tense. The warrior's voice echoed across the rocks, low and powerful. "Who comes here?" It was not angry, but filled with authority and caution. The alien girl stepped forward slightly, placing herself between the boy and the warrior. "He is my friend," she said boldly. "He means no harm." The warrior tilted his head, examining the boy, and the rumble of more approaching warriors could be heard, their glowing weapons casting faint light across the cliffs. 500 warriors, the girl's people, were gathering quickly, ready to judge the newcomer. The boy swallowed hard, but he stood tall, trying to look brave. His hand rested near the glowing toy, a symbol of his kindness and courage. He did not know what would happen next, but he knew one thing clearly. He would protect the alien girl, no matter the danger, no matter the odds. The alien girl touched the boy's hand briefly, her small fingers brushing his. "Be strong," she whispered. "They respect courage, not fear." Together they waited, the glowing toy between them like a beacon in the darkness. The rumble grew louder, the shadows moved faster, and the wind carried the scent of alien armor and the promise of confrontation. In that quiet moment, both the boy and the girl understood that their bond had already begun to change fate. Small and fragile as it seemed, their friendship would be tested soon, and the warning roar of the approaching warriors was only the beginning. The night sky above them sparkled coldly, stars shining far away but on the ground. A new chapter of danger, courage, and trust was about to unfold. Their hearts raced together, waiting for the first move, ready for the next challenge, ready for what the 500 warriors would bring. The first light of dawn barely touched the rocky cliffs when the ground began to tremble. A low, deep vibration rolled across the planet, shaking loose small stones and making the alien girl hug the glowing toy tightly. Her small hands pressed it to her chest, as if the light could protect her. She glanced at the human boy, whose eyes were wide with awe and fear. From the horizon, hundreds of figures emerged, moving with perfect formation, 500 warriors, each larger and stronger than the last. Their bodies glowed with strange symbols, and their eyes reflected the rising sun like molten fire. The rumble of their footsteps filled the valley. Echoing off the cliffs, the air seemed to hum with their power, and the boy felt a strange energy pulse through the ground. The alien girl whispered nervously, "They can sense everything. Your heart, your intentions, your courage." Her voice trembled, and the boy nodded, tightening his grip on the glowing toy. He stepped slightly in front of her, a protective stance. Unsure if his courage would be enough, the warriors stopped at a distance, forming a wide circle around the boy and the girl, their glowing weapons raised but not attacking, only watching, judging, assessing. Suspense hung thick in the air. Heavier than the morning mist, the alien girl's tail twitched, and she stepped forward slowly, standing beside the human boy, her small figure a bold contrast to the massive warriors surrounding them. A single warrior moved ahead of the rest, his body taller and broader than the others. His glowing symbols burned brighter, his eyes piercing. Scanning every detail of the human boy, he spoke in a deep, powerful voice that rolled across the valley. "Why is a human here? What is your purpose?" The boy swallowed hard, his throat dry. I came because she was alone. I wanted to help," he said simply, his voice steady despite the fear in his heart. The lead warrior's gaze shifted to the alien girl, then back to the boy. The other warriors shifted uneasily, whispering among themselves, their glowing symbols flickering with light. Some of them raised their weapons slightly, testing, waiting for a sign of danger. The boy's heart raced, but he did not move. He stayed calm, showing no threat, only hope and courage. The alien girl spoke softly, her small voice carrying more weight than anyone expected. "He means no harm. He only wants to be my friend." Her glowing eyes met the lead warriors, and for a moment silence fell, as if the planet itself were holding its breath. Then the leader's massive head tilted slowly, a gesture of cautious approval, though his eyes still burned with intensity. The warriors' whispers grew quieter, some lowering their weapons slightly, others remained tense. Still unsure if the human boy was trustworthy, the boy glanced at the alien girl, and she gave him a small nod, encouraging him to stay strong. He lifted the glowing toy slightly, letting its light shine across the rocky valley, a symbol of friendship, trust, and courage. The lead warrior stepped closer, his boots heavy against the ground, sending vibrations through the boy's legs. "You show courage," he said, his voice deep and rumbling. "But courage alone is not enough. You must prove yourself," the boy nodded quickly. "I will. I promise," he said, and even the massive warriors could see the honesty in his eyes. A sudden gust of wind swept across the cliffs, carrying the smell of distant fires, perhaps from rival clans. The warriors tensed again, but they did not attack. Their leader gave a slow nod, signaling the others to stand down for now. The alien girl exhaled softly, relief and pride mixing in her glowing eyes. She looked at the boy and whispered, "You passed the first test, but more will come." The human boy smiled faintly, though his heart still raced. "I will face anything with you," he said quietly, and she could see he meant it. The warriors began to relax slightly, though their glowing eyes still watched closely. Suspense remained, but the first step toward trust had been made. A bond between human and alien girl had begun, strong enough to face the challenges ahead. The morning sun rose higher, casting golden light across the valley, illuminating 500 warriors, a small human boy, and a tiny alien girl holding a glowing toy. Their world had shifted in an instant, and the first chapter of their shared journey was only beginning. The boy knew that more trials awaited, but together, they could face anything. The sun climbed higher over the rocky cliffs, and the alien girl and the human boy stood among the 500 warriors, their bodies still tense, their glowing eyes scanning every movement. The boy knew that mere words were not enough to gain their trust. He had to show them through action, courage, and care. "Come," the alien girl whispered, tugging gently at his sleeve. "They will watch everything you do." The boy nodded and followed her carefully, moving toward a broken alien structure nearby. Jagged rocks and splintered metal scattered across the ground. "This was part of my people's old settlement," she said softly. "They will see if you respect what is sacred to us." The boy knelt down, examining the broken pieces, and realized some of the glowing energy conduits were damaged. He carefully adjusted them, letting small sparks jump across his fingers, his mind working quickly to repair what he could. The alien girl watched closely, noting every careful motion, her glowing eyes reflecting both hope and worry. Suddenly, a small rock slide threatened to crush one of the younger warriors who had wandered too close. The boy's instincts kicked in and he dove forward, pushing the child out of the way just in time. The rocks tumbled past them, leaving a cloud of dust in the air, and the alien girl gasped, You saved him," she whispered, awe and relief in her voice. The lead warrior stepped closer, observing silently, his massive form towering over the boy. The other warriors whispered among themselves, their glowing weapons still raised but no longer threatening. The boy's courage and quick thinking had caught their attention, and some began to lower their weapons slightly. The alien girl guided him to a small garden hidden among the rocks, where rare glowing plants grew. "These plants are sacred," she explained. "They show life even in the harshest places. Your care will show them you understand respect." The boy gently touched the plants, repairing small broken branches and clearing dust from the glowing leaves. Each movement was careful, deliberate, showing patience and understanding. A sudden roar echoed from the cliffs above, startling the group. Some of the warriors tensed, ready to attack, but the boy held his ground, staying calm. His hands rested near the glowing toy he had carried since the first day. Its light seemed to pulse with his courage, sending a small message to the warriors that he was no threat. The alien girl's small hand brushed his arm. "You are doing well," she whispered, and a tiny smile appeared on her face. Her trust in him grew stronger with each careful action. Each warrior watching began to nod slightly, murmuring among themselves. "Perhaps he is worthy," one said quietly. The boy did not smile, he only kept working, showing care and respect for her world, for her people. As the day passed, the boy carried water to the warriors, helped repair shelters, and even assisted in moving heavy stones. Tasks that seemed simple to him were acts of courage and kindness to the alien people. Suspense lingered as some warriors remained suspicious, but more and more began to see his heart, his honesty and his courage by evening. The boy had earned his first real nods of respect from the warriors. The alien girl's eyes shone brightly, and she whispered, "You are learning our ways." "Our hearts," the boy smiled faintly, tired but proud. "I will do anything to keep you safe," he said quietly, and she knew he meant it. The glow of the toy shone between them, a small light in the growing darkness, symbolizing friendship, trust, and courage. The warriors now watched not with suspicion, but with quiet interest, still cautious, still strong, but slowly opening to the human boy who had proven himself. The alien girl looked at him and whispered, "You have taken the first step. But more challenges will come." The boy nodded, feeling both pride and determination. He had earned trust, but the bond he shared with the alien girl and her people was only beginning to grow. As night fell, shadows deepened around the rocky cliffs, but the boy and the alien girl stood together, their small light glowing brightly, ready for whatever trials awaited. Together, they had shown that even in a world filled with danger and suspicion, courage, kindness, and respect could begin to build bridges. The first step of trust had been earned, and the journey ahead promised even greater tests. The morning sky was dark with storm clouds, and a tense silence hung over the rocky cliffs. The alien girl sensed danger long before the boy did. Her glowing eyes scanned the horizon, and she whispered urgently, "They are coming." The rival clan. The boy's heart raced, but he did not step back. He tightened his grip on the glowing toy, a small source of light and courage. From the far edge of the valley, shadows moved fast and low, strange shapes with glowing eyes that matched the alien warriors. The rival clan had arrived, hundreds of fierce fighters, their weapons glinting in the dim light. The alien girl's tail flicked nervously, her small body trembling slightly, but she stood firm beside the human boy. The 500 warriors of her people formed a defensive line, their glowing weapons ready, and the lead warrior stepped forward, towering above the rest. "Stand behind me," he commanded the human boy, his voice deep and strong. The boy nodded, but he did not step back. He knew the alien girl needed him, and he could not abandon her now. Suddenly, the rival clan charged. Their movements fast and precise, the ground shook as they closed in, and the air filled with the sound of clashing energy. The alien girl's warriors fought fiercely, their glowing symbols flashing with every strike. Yet the boy knew he could not just hide, he had to help. He had to show them that humans and aliens could fight together. He scanned the battlefield quickly, noticing a cluster of unstable rocks above the rival clan. He whispered to the alien girl, "Help me," and she nodded, understanding instantly. Using gestures she had taught him, they combined their actions, the boy using his human tools, the girl using her alien energy. Together, they triggered the rocks to tumble down toward the attackers, creating chaos and confusion. The rival clan stumbled, but they were fast and fierce, and a warrior lunged toward the alien girl. His claws sharp and deadly, the boy jumped, tackling the attacker just in time. The glowing toy slipped from his pocket, landing on the ground, its light scattering across the rocks. The alien girl gasped, but then she used a small energy burst from her hands to push the attacker back, saving them both. The warriors of her people watched closely, their eyes widening as they saw the human boy fighting alongside the alien girl. Not hiding, not weak, but brave and clever. Each move he made, each risk he took showed courage, intelligence, and loyalty. Suspense filled the valley as the battle raged, sparks flying from energy weapons, rocks tumbling, and roars echoing across the cliffs. The boy saw another rival approaching, about to strike a young warrior, and he dove again, using a piece of metal from the ground to block the attack. The alien girl's eyes shone brightly, admiration and trust growing with every second. "You are learning our ways." "Truly," she whispered, and he smiled faintly under the tension. Hours seemed to pass in moments, the battle intense and chaotic. Yet the boy and the alien girl worked seamlessly. Guiding and supporting each other, the rival clan began to retreat, realizing that these two, human and alien, were not to be underestimated. The lead warrior of her people nodded slowly to the boy, a silent acknowledgement of his bravery, and the other warriors lowered their weapons. Exhausted but victorious, the alien girl stepped beside the boy, her small hand brushing his arm. "You did it," she whispered, her voice trembling with relief and pride. He looked around at the warriors, the damaged cliffs, and the retreating rival clan, then at her glowing eyes full of hope. "We did it together," he said quietly, and she nodded, understanding fully that trust and courage had united them. As night fell, the storm clouds parted slightly, letting starlight shine down on the valley. The boy and the alien girl stood together, surrounded by warriors who now respected him. Their bond had been tested by fire and fear, and it had survived stronger than before, ready for whatever challenges the galaxy would bring. The first true test had passed, but both knew that their journey was far from over. The sun rose slowly over the rocky cliffs, casting golden light across the valley. The battle was over and silence settled, broken only by the soft hum of the glowing toy held in the alien girl's hands. She looked around at the warriors of her people, all standing tall, their glowing symbols calm, yet full of power. The human boy stood beside her, exhausted but proud, his small chest rising and falling with every breath. The lead warrior approached, his massive frame casting a long shadow. He lowered his glowing weapon and studied the boy carefully. Then he nodded slowly, a gesture that spoke more than words ever could. Respect had been earned, trust had been proven, and the bond between human and alien girl was now recognized by all. Some of the warriors whispered among themselves, their eyes still glowing yet filled with admiration. The alien girl stepped forward, holding the glowing toy high. "This small gift, this human, he stayed with me," she said softly, her voice carrying across the valley. Every warrior listened, their eyes flicking from the boy to the girl, and slowly, a cheer rose among them, not loud or boisterous, but deep and proud. The sound of unity and approval. The boy smiled faintly, unsure if he had done enough, but the warmth in the alien girl's eyes reassured him. She brushed a strand of glowing hair from her face. "You showed courage, kindness, and care. Qualities our people respect," she whispered, and he felt a surge of pride, not just for himself, but for the trust they had built together around them. The warriors began to repair their structures and tend to the wounded, their energy symbols pulsing with life and harmony. The boy stepped forward, helping where he could, lifting stones and carrying supplies, his actions simple, but they spoke volumes to the alien warriors, showing that humans could stand beside them as allies, not intruders. A soft wind blew across the valley, carrying the scent of strange alien flowers. The alien girl held the toy to her chest, its glow casting a warm light on their faces. She turned to the boy, her small hand brushing against his arm. "We have done more than survive," she whispered. "We have begun a new story together." He nodded, feeling the weight and beauty of her words, understanding that their friendship had changed both their lives forever. Evening came and the valley glowed with the soft lights of the warrior's energy. The boy and the alien girl stood together on a high cliff. Looking at the stars above, the alien girl whispered, "The galaxy is wide and dangers are many, but we are no longer alone." The boy smiled faintly, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "I will stay with you always," he said simply, and she knew he meant it. The warriors gathered around them, forming a circle of light and power. Their glowing eyes met the boy's, their gestures showing approval and unity. Even those who had doubted him before now recognized his courage and loyalty. The alien girl's small smile grew wider, and the toy in her hands seemed to glow brighter, a symbol of friendship, hope, and new beginnings. Suddenly, a distant rumble echoed from beyond the cliffs, subtle but noticeable. The boy and the alien girl exchanged a glance, knowing that adventure was not yet over. Yet neither felt fear, for they had learned that together, they could face anything. The alien girl whispered, "We have survived today. Tomorrow will bring more, but we are ready." The boy nodded, holding her hand lightly. their bond now unbreakable. As night fully fell, the stars sparkled like diamonds above the valley, reflecting in the eyes of the boy, the alien girl, and the 500 warriors around them. The small glowing toy rested between them, a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could unite worlds. And as they stood together, proud and strong, a quiet promise lingered in the air that their story was only beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same again.